Can't believe that's the text that's going to show up on the screen right now as soon as I get the stream started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to System Crafters Live. I'm David Wilson. We're back again with another Friday stream where we get together as a community and talk about a bunch of irrelevant things in the IRC for the stream right before the stream starts. Yes, it's always Summer Emacs' fault. We're late today because Summer Emacs would not stop making fun of me because I was 5 minutes late. So then I became 10 minutes late because I was crying behind the scenes. You can't really see it because I do a very good job of crying and then cleaning it up after, but I was crying, okay? So everyone blames Summer for me being an extra 5 minutes late. Okay, can't really blame Summer. It actually is because Firefox did not work. I loaded Firefox and no web page would actually start up. I'm just waiting to see what will happen, and then I just had to kill it and then restart it. So I swear, like every week is something. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that I'm using a bunch of weird software on my computer. I don't know. Like that could be one reason, but maybe I also have really bad luck. Big Edie says, I don't get on Twitch much. I just saw Flux Harmonic scheduled for streams. Yeah, I never unscheduled that. I should do that though, because we probably won't be doing any Flux Harmonic streams soon. I would love to though. I have some things to say about that. The audio is low. I don't think it's low. I can see the meter right now. Okay, this is why you should use the little fancy silver volume buttons and turn the volume up on your iPad. Okay. Let me know if it's too low and I'll adjust it, but I don't think it's that low. Yeah, you use the fancy little silver buttons on your $4,000 screen that reacts to your finger touching it. It's all the way up? Okay. Let's see. If the mic starts clipping, once again, I will blame Summer for that. Okay, anyway. Let's say hello to the people who are here who are not giving me trouble the whole time. Let me pull up the chat. It's all the way up. I don't believe you. Earmuffs off. I agree, Gun. Earmuffs off. I think we've got some problems with, there being some buffer in between the ears and the source of the audio. So hello to Summer Emacs, Spade, Glenn, Gun, Cow, Left Pad. Left Pad, you should take some blame too, I think. Big Edie. Jeff. I'm just scanning through the IRC. Glenn, did I say Glenn? Gun. Who else is here? There's a lot of chat in the pregame here. Left Pad says, what? I'm innocent. I don't know, dude. I mean, Left Pad is the one little piece of the entire NPM infrastructure that brought everything down for a whole day, right? Oh, you're going to go turn down your Taylor Swift while you're trying to listen to me at the same time. I got you. I see. On the YouTube side, hello to... Wait, hold on. I got to get my keyboard over on the right machine. Hello to Minas Mezar, Jerry, Artie, Ed, Mike, Appenzel, Menacing Mecca. Hey, Menacing Mecca. And Leslie. Hello from Brazil. Nice to see you. Okay. So... now he's in 3D stereophonic, so you can actually hear now. Okay, good. Good to know. So, I don't know why I'm showing you my configuration on the screen right now. Probably because I had to fix my theme right before the stream started. Let me get the show notes started because there's things to talk about. I just remember how to do this because it's been 2 weeks since I had a stream because last week I had to cancel the stream. Just because I felt like it. No, I had things to do. Sorry for that. I had things to do, so sue me. Okay. Content, live streams. Okay, let's just steal the notes from July 4th. Is that July 4th for real? Okay. July 18th, 2025. There we go. Paste it. Yeah, I got a new keyboard. That's right. What is this stream called? Is the default Emacs completion UI good? Is it? I don't know. We'll find out real fast. Let's see. 18. I know that you love watching me do this because I'm so prepared before the stream starts. All right. So there we go. We got the little thing here. I'll throw on KeyCast tab bar mode so you can see what I'm doing because I'm fumbling around. I need to bump up the size on the chat on the other screen because I cannot read. I'm getting old, folks. If you can believe it. Cannot adjust default text scale in what? In a non-graphical frame? Am I seriously in... Apparently, I'm using Terminal Emacs on the other screen. I didn't even realize it. And I'm running the whole stream from that. Cool. Great. Good to know. Fewer streams than before? Yes. I guess that's right, Big Edie. It's fewer Flux Harmonic streams than before because there's 0. How long's it been? This is like 2022, the last time I did one of those. There's no famous like System Crafters famous, and Glitz says I was called out twice, System Crafters famous. Or you're about to be System Crafters famous again, because I need to bring up the thing that you mentioned. Left Pass says, does Betteridge's Law hold for the stream? I guess you're gonna have to remind me what that is. Fade says it is not good. Jeff says it is good. Okay, so you've got both your answers now. The default completion UI is good and not good. So we've already answered it. So thank you everybody for being here today. I really appreciate your time and attention. And we'll just let somebody else tell you the answer to the question before we even get started. Got a lot of emojis in the chat here. Okay, so first of all, news. Glenn, can you please remind me of the URL for your service, because I had to kill my machine before the stream started because I had another issue, which I should tell you about. I think that the URL I saw was crafterbin.glenstack.dev. Is that right, Glenn? I'm coming at this from memory. And my memory could be wrong. Boom. Wow, I remembered that. Okay. And then there's also codeberg.org. I'm hitting key bindings. Glenneth. I have to log in to look at this. Are you kidding me? Can I not just go to a damn page? Are you serious? crafterbin.el. Let me go. 404. Is it private? Is that your username, Glenn? I don't know what's happening in the IRC right now. Glenneth1. I thought it was Glenneth1. Crafterbin.el.get. Why is it doing this? Oh, is it on GitHub? Is that why? GitHub.com. There we go. All right. Crafterbin.el. There we go. Okay. Sorry, everyone. It's going great. So, Glenn has created CrafterBin, which is effectively a hosted oxo.st instance for the SC community. And also provided an Emacs package for uploading files to it. So you can check it out at these links. This is like fresh off the presses stuff here. I think Glenn was talking about this yesterday or today in the System Crafters IRC. So if you haven't heard about it until now, it's because it just happened. So thank you, Glenn, for setting up an instance for file sharing, so that we can all upload all of our illegally obtained materials, like, episodes of Sanford and Sons, and, the back catalog of Leonard Skinnard in an MP3 format. But it has to be like 128 kilobits per second or less, because otherwise then it's just too high quality and you just don't really get that feeling of pirating music. Leftpad says, I'm going to upload a pirated Windows 11. Why would you upload that one? Like, who wants to use that one? Maybe if you uploaded a pirated Windows XP or 95 or 98, I would download that. But Windows 11, I don't think I'm going to install that. Summer says, where's it being hosted when we upload? On Glenn's server. But I guess it's a good question. Where is it? Is it in your house? Is your cat sitting on top of the box that our files are in, Glenn? Is that what's happening? I mean, if it is, that's actually better. I would actually really like to know if there's a cat sitting on top of the server that hosts my files. That would make me feel a lot better, actually. There's just something to that. Ashra says, that's why we use links, right? I don't even know what that was in reference to. Glenn says, on 3.5-inch floppies. I think that's not going to hold very much, though. I don't even know if that's going to hold like one image or GIF file these days. GIF, however you want to say it. Summer says, Glenn's server's in his old workplace in Jordan. Jeff says, I'm going to run Emacs REST client to send a file that uploads itself when run. That uploads itself when run. That sounds dangerous. That sounds like a worm, almost. Anyway, that's cool. Thank you, Glenn, for setting that up. Is there anything else going on that I haven't been thinking about or hearing about this week? Because I've been kind of tuned out. I've been busy, working, staring at a wall all day. I don't know. I've been busy. Ed says, is it connected with a Cat 5? That's a good point, actually. It has to be connected with Cat 5 with a cat sitting on top. Jeff says, recursion is fun. Recursion is fun until you consume all the resources with your recursion. Leftpad says, the agent's finally caught up. Had you locked up for a week? I can't actually comment on where I've been this week because the settlement agreement that I signed is preventing me from doing so. BBQ says, new release of Foot if you're using this. I'm actually using Foot, but I have no idea like what would be in a new Foot release. Foot terminal emulator. Let's see, what's in the new release? Is there a release? Colors to config section. It lets you define alternative color theme. Okay, so you can switch between color themes. That's nice. Sending SIG user 1 to the Foot process now triggers a theme switch. Okay, cool. Dark and light mode detection. Oh, basically, this sounds like it's meant for switching between light and dark themes. Copy paste to selected text if the hint is completed with an uppercase character. Center when full screen. Okay. Maybe there's some useful stuff in there if you are a primary terminal user, which I'm not really. I mean, maybe one day I will be. That's why not. But the one thing that kind of keeps me from doing that is the really strange thing we found with terminal Emacs, where if you press Control G 3 times and your computer is lagging a little bit, then it exits, which is the most insane thing I think I've seen. But I guess it makes sense. It makes sense, but I don't like it. I wish you could turn it off. Hello to Cubed Echo. Jerry says it was about the big browser conspiracy. Oh, is there a conspiracy now? I guess Lynx is the only one that they're not going to put AI into, right? Summer says, I'm too tipsy to reply in a funny way or a way that wouldn't get me reprimanded. Yes, you're going to get demerits. And if you get 3 demerits, you're going to be put on a chat filter for the whole week where you can't use any emojis. Can you imagine what your IRC experience is going to be like, Summer, if you can't use any emojis? All your nice little... hippie expand mode emojis for everybody's username. Those are gone. Rage Uwu 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 says, what Linux distro are you running? Nix. I'm running GNU Geeks. Why aren't we talking about people in bikinis on this channel? Okay, this is a serious channel. All right, we're talking about serious things like 40-year-old programs and how to configure them to be slightly less sucky than they are out of the box. No, I'm not saying that again, Leftpad. In fact, I probably should never have said that to begin with, because I don't need an audio clip out there of me saying that expression. Andy says, that will crash Summer Emacs Mac OS. Probably would, actually. I believe that. All right. By the way, those of you who are in the chat, in YouTube or Twitch, if you want to be on the screen as you see, wherever that is, where the other people are speaking, go to irc.libra.chat to the systemcrafters-live chat room, because that's actually what goes to the screen. Because I'm such a nerd that I put IRC on the screen and not other chat services. Or you can just go to systemcrafters.net/live, where I have it embedded into the website, so you can go there too. Yeah. Anyway, Big Edie says geeks. Yes, it's geeks. If you haven't heard of it, then watch some videos on this channel, because I talk about it all the time. Okay, so sure, Foot released a new release 2 days ago. That's cool. Foot has a new release out. Anything else? Anyway, so this week had some really interesting things happening with my laptop. I finally updated Geeks. I tried updating Geeks a couple weeks ago, and it failed. And what happened basically is I would update my system because I'm trying to use a new substitute server for 9Geeks, which is basically a proxy because they stopped accepting connections from IPv4 for some reason. Don't know why. I updated my system. When I would reboot into it, I could no longer log into my user account. I could log in as root, but I couldn't log in as my user, David Will. Pretty weird, right? Like, it seems like there maybe is a bug in the system or something. So I start digging into my configuration and figure out, oh, it's my fault. I just did something wrong in my config. So I fixed that, got my system updated. All is well and good. But then something weird started happening. Randomly, I would get like a 10-second hang while using my computer. And then it would start hanging like every 5 seconds. Like just like total freeze. And then it would let up, maybe for like a second or something like that. So I started looking into it, and it appears to be a problem with the firmware, I guess, the firmware of my graphics device. So I go and update the Linux firmware in 9Geeks because that's where like all the firmwares are for proprietary devices like AMD, Intel, etc. Update that. That didn't fix the issue either. Fade says, Waylon, the problem is Waylon. I don't think so. The error that I keep seeing is something DRM related, and I cannot pin down what causes it. It happens completely randomly. Sometimes it happens a couple of hours after I boot my computer. Sometimes it happens a day and a half after I boot my computer. I have not really figured out yet what it is. I don't have a nice resolution to this story because I still have not figured out the problem yet. The only reason why I'm telling you this is because if for whatever reason the stream hangs or disappears, it might be because my computer froze, and can't fix that right now. Ashra says, excuse me, share the error message, maybe some kind of bin, maybe a crafter bin. No, the error is actually on 9Geeks somewhere on the repo. Like there's a pull request that has the error message mentioned. I could find it if I wanted to, but it's really not that interesting. I'll keep looking into it. I'll keep you posted if I figure out what the problem is. But yes, there's something going on there. I just think that it's a driver issue as usual. Hopefully that gets ironed out at some point. The reason why I had to update to begin with, this is just another one of those problems that you run into using Linux and other things like that. My nice new Happy Hacking Keyboard Studio that I bought is working great by itself, but I had a really hard time getting the Bluetooth to pair to my Linux machine. Pair just fine to Mac OS, obviously, but on Linux, I had to fight with it to get it to maintain a connection. When I finally did, it was working great for like a day or two. And then for whatever reason, this keyboard does actually have an issue where it somehow just like forgets the connections that it has, and you have to repair it. So on its own, it forgot the connection to both the MacBook and to the Linux machine. And when it did that, I had to reconnect or repair to the Linux machine. And then I had to deal with the whole problem over again, to where every time I would connect to the Linux machine, it would unpair itself afterward. So I was like, okay, probably there's a bug in the kernel or in the Bluetooth driver or whatever. So I updated my Linux kernel and it fixed that problem, but then I got the other problem instead. So that's what we deal with when doing this stuff. Why is it that I use this software whenever it gives me so much trouble? I don't know. It just gives me some kind of warm feeling of joy. Or maybe it's just a Stockholm syndrome from having used it for so long. Because I've been on Geek since 2019 at this point, and you've seen me. I've tried to leave it. I've tried to go to other distributions, you know? It just never really works out. So, yeah. I think that I'm just kind of stuck with having to deal with weird computer issues for the rest of my life. But that's okay, because we're all here commiserating together, right? And it's maybe entertaining. I don't know. You tell me. Is it entertaining getting to see my pain on display literally every single week when something else different goes wrong? Is it? I'm being baited to say the username again, it's not going to happen. Okay. It's too easy to see that you're saying it. So I'll know when you're trying to get me to say it. You have to be very sneaky. So Fade says, sounds like you're going to be writing some eBPF dtrace code. I probably won't go that far. I'll wait for somebody else to fix it. Summer says, of course it paired well with macOS. macOS just works. Yeah, but it sucks. I don't care if it works if it sucks. Something like that, yes. Something like that, no. Anthony says, what is your laptop model? This is a Framework 13 with an AMD Ryzen chipset. Ashra says, it works if you pay enough money. Well, I don't know about that. A laptop that runs Linux can cost a lot of money too. I did not pronounce it correctly, Ashraz. I don't want to pronounce it correctly or incorrectly. Either way. Okay, so that's that. Any other news? Anything else? Anybody know anything else? Anything interesting happening in the Emacs world these days? I'm not going to go through Emacs news right now. I'll just say that there's probably something out there. Go check out Emacs news. Ed says, just works. That has not been my experience of macOS. I'll tell you, my experience with macOS is wait a few years, try to continue using your MacBook or any other Mac hardware, and eventually they will decide that you no longer get OS updates. And then that means that you can't really update anything else because you don't have the latest version of Xcode. So if you use Homebrew, you can't download and install things with Homebrew anymore, especially now that they've had the Apple Silicon hardware changeover. So yeah, you're totally left in the dust, period. Zorg says, Knicks win? Never. There's no point. His Java friends? What are you talking about? Okay, so today, by the way, side note, the Happy Hacking Keyboard Studio, I've been enjoying using it. I've been enjoying typing on it. There are certain things that I'm not so crazy about. I feel like the track point does not have the same kind of motion smoothing on it, or let's say pointer acceleration, built-in pointer acceleration that the ThinkPad track point does. The ThinkPad track point acceleration is nice because it's slow at first and then speeds up. On the Studio, it's like you push the button and the pointer just flies across the screen. So you don't really have that precise control in the same way. You can change the speed of it, but it doesn't, it's kind of like a linear speed. It's not like an accelerated speed. So that's one thing that's a little bit annoying. Then there's other issues with the Bluetooth, like just losing connection every now and then. It just drops. Like you'll be typing and all of a sudden it just cuts off. And you have to like change to another Bluetooth connection, then change back, or like turn it off and on. There's stuff like that happens, but honestly, I'm enjoying it. So I feel like it was worth the money. I'm using it every day in the way that I said that I needed to use it. It's working great. Zorg says, can you show us the keyboard to the camera? I mean, I showed it last time. I'll show it again. Just give me a second. It's this one here. It's a good keyboard. I like it. It sounds good. Feels satisfying to type on. I'm no expert when it comes to mechanical keyboard switches, so I had to remove the Cheeto dust first. No, I had to remove the dust from the paprika peanuts that I've been eating all day. My cholesterol is going to be insane. No arrows. I like it. Yeah, it doesn't have arrows. I've got it bound to the sort of the middle mouse click button. Let me see if I can do this while it's plugged in. The middle mouse click button right there is like a function key. And I've got that. If you hold that down and press the WSAD keys, you basically have arrow keys. So that works. It takes a little bit of getting used to, though, because you get used to having arrow keys in the place where arrow keys normally live, and like page up and page down keys, things like that. Ironically, I actually have an easier time using Mac OS. Can't believe I just said that. Using Emacs key bindings in pretty much any place, because they, normal edit fields in Mac OS support Emacs key bindings. They don't support control space though, so you can't select text with it, but you can at least do, control A, control E, those kinds of things, control N, control P. use the HJKL keys for that? No, because I don't do that anymore. I don't use modal editing Vim style. Like, I just use normal Emacs keys, all right? Dominic says, I need my thumb keys to not get Emacs pinky. I don't know. I've been having an okay time with the hand strain situation here, so it's been good. Have I talked enough? Maybe. All right. Let's explore Emacs default completion UI. There was some bounty in GTK for improving Emacs keys. Is there actually an Emacs keys setting in GTK? Because that would be nice. And hey to Nakatani and Night HK. Sorry, Night HK. I didn't say hello to you because I was too busy being flabbergasted by what Summer was saying to you. Okay. So, I don't know. Was it like a year ago? Was it in October? Whenever I decided that I was going to try to just use more things in the box with Emacs. It's been almost a year since then, and I'm basically still doing that. There are certain things that I install because you kind of have to, like certain language mode packages like TypeScript mode, you have to install that. There's others, just like small things here and there that I install, but for the most part, I'm just using like stuff that's built into Emacs at this point. I did have to break down and use Magit a little bit this week at work because I needed to do some rebasing of a branch I was working on. And you just can't do that in VC mode. But for the most part, I'm using VC mode. I'm using like, built-in completion UI through Fido mode or Fido vertical mode, etc. I actually started using MX Shell a lot for my shell behavior, my shell thing. When I need to run anything in a shell, in a terminal, I use MX Shell. And that's been going fine. Ashra says, is there no background music? It must just be really low. Wait a second. Did it stop entirely? I don't even see it on the meter. If I start it again, we might end up with a problem. Let's see. No music indeed. It must have died. What happened? I was hearing it, and then it stopped. Actually, I do hear it. It's just, it's super low. I should play Bouzouki. No, Gun, no way. Pulse audio. Volume control, there we go. How about that? You hear that now? It must be a little bit louder. Is it too loud? Because I think one time recently I turned it up too loud. Because I don't want it to be like overpowering my voice. I'll bump it a little bit. Okay. So what I was saying is I've actually done pretty well just using stuff that's built in to Emacs, but still things like Fido vertical mode or even iComplete vertical mode, that's not like the default Emacs experience. Now, I'm not saying that, people should just go and be ascetic and use only the things that come in box, but it's interesting to try it. Just to see if there's any actual value to using the stuff that's in box. The thing that you realize after you stop using a bunch of community packages is that there's kind of a language and mentality to the built-in functionality of Emacs and the way that things work. And that gets obscured a bit whenever you start using third-party packages that have their own ideas for how you should interact with Emacs. So going back to try some of the stuff that's built in and has been there forever, like the original completion UI, gives you an opportunity to sort of reanalyze or reevaluate whether the way that things were done originally might be valuable in their own way. So I kind of want to try using the default completion UI in Emacs just for a little while to see how that goes. And BBQ says there's completion preview mode now. I use it with prog mode. I should, let's make a little list here. I do want to show that completion preview mode. Is that in 30 or 31? What am I using right now? Emacs version. I'm on 30. So we'll see. In fact, I don't even know. Like, let me see what my other computer's on. So Emacs version. Yeah, I'm on 31 on the other machine, so I'm a little bit behind, I think. When did I update this machine last? Let's see, the one that I'm showing the screen on. Let's go to Emacs shell, and I'm gonna look at Geek System generations, list generations. Is that right? What is the command for that? I should know this, right? Oh, okay. It's list generations without the dashes. Geek System list generations. The last one that I installed, which is current, I installed it in April, okay? April 25th. So that's how many months ago? June, July. That's like 2 months ago. I see you, Big Edie. Sorry that I just started on the topic. You'll have to watch the recording, I guess. Summer says, I'm back and I heard everything. What did you hear? Were you going to see your horse again? I said the word horse. Okay. Hey, Beach Al. Okay, so, anyway, why did I say that? Yes, the Emacs version. So, completion preview mode. Let's just see. Completion preview mode. Okay, so it's in there. Cool. Toggle in buffer completion suggestions in a preview as you type. And there's also global completion mode. Global completion preview mode. Okay. Thank you, BBQ. Completions detailed. There's a few more, and there's a page for this. So, Emacs completion options. Completion options. And sure, we can get to that in MetaX info, which we will. How do we do that? Completion options. Nope. Completion, mini buffer, completion. There we go. Completion options. Boom. So default text scale increase. We're just going to bump that a little bit. Is that okay? Let's just go down a little bit. There we go. That's good. Zorik says, you should be getting completions to complete those variables in org mode itself. Should I? Cal says, what do you call a pony with a sore throat? A little horse. That sounds like a Mel Brooks joke. Did it come from a Mel Brooks movie? Okay. So, yeah, we'll be looking at the completion options section of the manual. So we'll look at completion options. We'll also look at the, what part is that? So up completion, completion commands, I think. And that gives us basically the commands you can use to interact with the completion system. So before I can do any of that, I got to turn off the stuff that I've already got in here. So let me just pop open my Emacs config, which I think is already open. Completion. There we go. We got some things in here already. I should probably take these out. In fact, I wonder if it's better to start a clean Emacs session up because otherwise we're going to get things a little bit confused in here. So let's go back to MetaX shell. And then we're going to run Emacs -q. That's really all we need, right? Ashras feels left out. Oh, because Summer Emacs is just giving everybody their little customized emoji name. She didn't give me mine, though. You notice that? I'm not in there either, Ashraz. Ashraz is a volcano. Why? Why is Ashraz a volcano, of all things? Okay. So let's see. Oh boy, I'm gonna have some trouble here. Ashraz volcanic ash. Okay, Ashraz. Is that how we're gonna pronounce it from now on? Thank you. All right, so find file init.el. I don't know. .ek. That makes a lot of sense. Let me just try that again. There we go. First of all, load theme modus vivendi tinted. There we go. That's better. And what else do I want to say here? Whoopsie. Let's get out of this .ek file there. Set base attribute. Let's just do that too. How did I move the entire thing to the other screen? You'd think I had never done this before with the way that I'm just totally botching the entire operation. What is my key binding for moving the whole freaking workspace? What the hell did I just do? I'm so confused. What did I do? I could have sworn. Now I got to open up my sway config. Because I've forgotten. Let's see. Shift plus H. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now. Just give me a second. Mod 1L. Oh, is that right? Man, what a mess. Okay. So, what I was trying to do is copy the face attribute and then drop that in. Yes, I know we're just making it look prettier for the moment, but I want this to be legible. So we're going to put this to 140. Probably want to put that to 160, let's say. No, 150. That's good enough. Okay. Everybody see that? That's the next thing I'm going to do, Ashraz. Don't need no stinking scroll bars. Okay, that's much better. So, completions. Meta X. If I were to type in FIN, press tab, this is what the default completion UI looks like, right? You get a big window that pops up at the bottom of the screen, or of the frame, let's say, that gives you all the completions. It also tells you, click or type meta return on a completion to select it. So let me just make a list of the things we might want to do to clean all this up. So turn off the help text to save space, control the max height of the, and I guess I should say, part of what we're trying to do here is sort of figure out what the value of the separate completion window is like this. And part of it is to make it better so that it's nicer to use, okay? Because I would like to use this and try to figure out what the value is in my day-to-day, usage of Emacs, because I use Emacs all the time. But then we still need to make it nicer. So meta return on a completion to selected. So meta return on a completion to selected. Meta return. So we're not in there. What I have to do is switch to the other window. Actually, meta down or up to move point between completions. Well, I can't do that because I don't actually have easy access to down and up. Oh, in fact, I need to move the cursor back into the mini buffer. Oh, another thing I want to turn on right now is repeat mode. Because what I do want is to be able to repeat, what the hell? Repeat things like switching to other window. All right, so meta X, fin tab, control X, O, good. All right, so then meta N and P, they don't actually move through the completions. They actually cycle through the possibilities, but not the what's in the completion window. Meta down and up will cycle through them. They must be moving horizontally in terms of the ordering, it seems. You can cycle through them. If you press enter on one, it still actually runs it. So I don't know why it says meta enter. Zorik says we can use control N and control P on completions by setting a variable. So we definitely want that. So control or cycle through completions with CNCP. Okay. All right. Velanox is speaking German in the chat. I don't read German, Velanox. I only can pronounce Erbsluft or Herbstluft and Zettelkasten, but not really. Not really. There's a lot of assignment of emojis going on in the IRC chat right now. Summer says, I told you guys I'm tipsy connecting random things. Ashra says that Zettelkasten was pretty spot on. Well, probably not. And now I'm going to do it wrong because you told me it was right. Cycled through completions using prescient.el. Boy, I made a video on that 4 years ago, I think. All right. So let's get back to the documentation, okay? Let me open up the info page. And I'm going to go up and back to completion commands. We're going to look at that first. Let me take the shell out of the way. All right, so list of the completion commands defined in the mini buffer when completion is allowed. Completion auto select. Thank you, Zor.org. Let's put that in the list here. Completion. And we're going to try to go through some of these variables and see what they do. Kind of examine them a little bit. Tab completes the text in the mini buffer as much as possible. If unable to complete, display a list of possible completions. Okay, so basically the idea is if you hit tab there, it will complete up to the point where it can. And then if you press tab again, then it will give you a list of possible other completions. So in the case of meta X, fi tab, well, I guess there's a lot of fi things. What about f tab? What can I say? Find fi. Okay, there I did that. So find fi tab just immediately tabs, or sorry, completes the find file. Do you see that in the bottom of the screen? It's actually visible. Let me actually look at what it looks like on the screen. It's a little bit small, isn't it? Should I make it bigger? Let's make this to 160. I want people to be able to see this. Even that needs to be bigger, right? 170. That's probably okay, right? So yeah, meta X, find fi tab completes the find file. Find dash tab gives you a list of completions because there's so many that it can't really know what the next one's going to be. Okay, so that's what the documentation is saying for tab here. Complete the text in the mini buffer as much as possible. If unable to complete, then display a list of possible completions. Space, complete up to one word from the mini buffer text before point. This command is not available for arguments that often include spaces such as file names. Okay, so it completes a whole word, up to one word from the mini buffer text before point. What does that mean? So space doesn't do anything right here. So F space, F-I-N space, D space, okay, space, F-I space, file. I don't know exactly what the difference is. Maybe there's a difference. Okay, look at that. So fi-a. So if find f-fi-a, can we see this? If you press space, it completes up to the point. So it will fill the whole thing out. Does it do that though if I use tab? Fi-a tab. It does the same thing and even goes further. Find file at point, FIA, hit tab, and it goes all the way to find file at point. So that's interesting that there's a bit of a difference. I don't know when that would be useful, space versus tab here. It seems that space does not complete as much text as tab does. Tab goes all the way if it finds a solution that is the sole completion, because there's nothing else for at point. But what it does is find file A, press space. What did I just do? Space, and then it doesn't complete the whole thing. Press space again, and then it completes it. So anyway, tab is a bit better than space, I think, for most things. There may be cases where it does make sense, though. Return, submit the text in the mini buffer as the argument, possibly completing first. So there's mini buffer complete and exit, completion exit. So back to that same example, find fi-a, press enter. So I think it is doing that. So find file at point, file or URL. So yeah, apparently what's happening here is that it will try to complete the text and then select whatever the completion is that it would have completed to if you hit tab. What if it doesn't have one? Nagatoni says, let's face the facts. German is just an angrier Flemish. All right. Find file or if I press enter here, it doesn't let me because there's no match. Okay. So what does it say for completion exit then? Go back to the info, completion exit. When a command reads an argument using the mini buffer with completion, it also controls what happens when you type return to submit the argument. There are 4 types of behaviors. Strict completion accepts only exact completion matches. Typing exit, return exits the mini buffer only if the mini buffer text is an exact match or completes to 1. Otherwise, Emacs refuses to exit the mini buffer. Instead, it tries to complete, and if no other completion can be done, it momentarily displays no match, and you can use Control G to cancel it. Cautious completion is like strict completion. Wow. Like strict completion, except return exits only if the text is already an exact match. So it has to be an exact match before return will exit. If the text completes to an exact match, return performs that completion but does not exit yet. You must type a second return to exit. So I think what that does is it doesn't automatically activate the thing that it would have completed to. It will complete first, and then you have to confirm it by pressing enter again. Cautious completion is used for reading file names for files that must already exist, for example. Okay. Permissive completion allows any input. The completion candidates are just suggestions. Typing return does not complete. It just submits the argument as you have entered it. I kind of like that. But it depends on whether candidates are being automatically selected at first, which I think is probably another setting in all this. So we might want to look into how to set up permissive, what is it called? Permissive completion. Okay, and then there's permissive completion with confirmation. Is like permissive completion with an exception. If you type tab in this completed text up to some intermediate state, type and return might afterward does not submit the argument. Instead, Emacs asks for confirmation after the text, confirm and submit the text, catches a common mistake in which one types return or realizing that tab did not complete as far as desired. You can tweak the confirmation by customizing the variable confirm a non-existent file or buffer. The default value after completion gives you the behavior we just described. If you change it to nil, Emacs does not ask for confirmation. Falling back to permissive completion. Okay, so it seems that the confirm non-existent file or buffer is what controls that behavior. Let's see. If you change it to nil, yes. Behavior is used by most commands that read file names. Okay, so let's try to absorb that really quickly. It's like permissive completion, but with an exception. See you, Nakatani. Is completed the text up to some intermediate state. Typing return right afterward does not submit the argument. I can't say that, Gun. Instead, Emacs asks for confirmation by momentarily displaying confirm after the text. Catches a common mistake in which the user types return before realizing that tab did not complete as far as desired. Okay. I do have issues sometimes with it picking the wrong candidate. But maybe that's not so common. I don't know. Good, Big Edie. We don't need meetings. We just need to be here in the live stream because, you know, why should we be working on a Friday, right? Just kidding. So confirm non-existent file or buffer. Let's see. So that is after completion by default. But how do you configure this in general? Is there a variable for that? Does it tell us at some point? When a command reads an argument using mini buffer with completion, it also controls what happens when you type return to submit the argument. There are 4 types of behavior. Okay, well, it doesn't tell us how to configure that, but it must be in the completion options. All right. So back to completion commands. Question mark displays a list of completions and a few useful key bindings. Mini buffer completion helps. So let's see. I think that's by default. Meta X bind fi-a question mark. So question mark kind of just brings up the completions that you would see, and then also has the help text on it. That's cool. fin question mark. Okay, I mean, I kind of like the whole use of question mark as a way to just show the completions whenever you want to. Meta X F question mark. Huh. That is cool. What about meta X question mark? Okay, so even just like using question mark there gives you all the completions. So if you want to get, it sounds like the default behavior is you're not getting any pop-up for completions until you ask for it, either by hitting tab, which may not give you completions, it may just complete what you typed in, or you press question mark manually, okay? So let's see, can I write that down somewhere? It appears that the default behavior is to only show completion candidates when you hit tab or space, or at any time by hitting question mark. When I say hit, I mean press, by pressing. Okay. What is short doc, Peter? And nice to see you, Peter. Yeah, you can't, I hope you wouldn't put not safe for work stuff in here, Summer, because I wouldn't put it past you, to be honest. Okay. So let's go back to the info text. Tab mini buffer complete is the most fundamental completion command. It searches for all possible completions that match the existing mini buffer text and attempts to complete it as much as it can. See completion styles for how completion alternatives are chosen. We've already looked into completion styles on a stream last November. I looked it up today. I was very surprised to see that it was in November of last year. That was a long time ago, at least from my perspective, because it kind of flew by. But yes, we're not really going to spend a lot of time looking at completion styles. We may just configure it and then let it be. But the completion styles variable is important to how completion candidates are selected to be shown in that buffer. And it's actually quite nice how it works, I think. So maybe we'll get to that later if we need to. Space mini buffer complete word completes like tab, but only up to the next hyphen or space. If you have auto -F in the mini buffer and you type space, it finds the completion is autofill mode, but it only inserts ill, giving autofill dash. That could be useful for file names, though, potentially. If tab or space is unable to complete, it displays in another window a list of matching completion alternatives and a few useful commands to select a completion candidate. You can display the same completion list in help using question mark. The following commands can be used with the completion list. Meta up and down allow you to cycle through. Meta V is page up. Let's see. Return while in a completion list buffer. This chooses the completion at point with a prefix argument, inserts the completion at this point into the mini buffer, but doesn't exit the mini buffer. Thus, you can change your mind and choose another candidate. Okay, interesting. Tab, when in the completion list buffer, these keys move point to the following completion alternative. So those are different commands. Mini buffer next completion. When mini buffer completion auto choose is non-nil, using these commands also inserts the current completion candidate into the mini buffer. Do we want that though? So I don't know if we want that. Summer says, I'm kind of non-impressed by the completion. Sorry. Summer says, I much prefer Vertigo, to be honest. That's great. Vertigo is extremely nice, but we're trying to do something different here. All right. So what's the difference between meta up and down and tab and shift tab? While in completion list buffer, these keys move point to the previous. Oh, N and P. To the previous completion alternative. So look, meta X, FIND tab. Okay, we switch to the completions buffer. N and P will cycle through them. Okay, that's fine. Meta up and down. Okay, you get to control the direction that they go. So I go up and down, and it goes the actual direction that I expect it to. But N and P goes in the sort of cycle order of the completions, which is a little bit weird, I think. But that's fine. What about question mark if you use N and P? I guess. Oops. Yeah, it scrolls. Okay, that makes sense for it to scroll. Can I do selections? Yeah, you can select too. I think that's one benefit of having everything be in an actual buffer is you can do selections too. Like if you want to like filter down to a list of commands and then copy that command list and paste it into a document, which is something that I might want to do as a person making. Thanks, Knight, about the co-term. I'll have to look at that. I've seen someone mention it before. Maybe it was you. I'll have to look at it again. So anyway, yes, it might be useful for someone like me who needs to make Emacs content at times and wants to copy a list of commands out of the MetaX buffer, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you, Ashraz, for giving the ordering. All right. Q, while in a completion list buffer, quits the window showing it and selects the window showing the mini buffer. Z, while in the completion list buffer, kill it and delete the window showing it. What's different? I guess it doesn't kill the buffer. Huh. Is that a normal thing in Emacs? If you use Q, it just closes the window, but Z kills it. Control XPV. All right, if I press Q, I can still get back to VC Deer, right? If I press Z, no, it doesn't work. I guess it doesn't work everywhere. Okay, fine. What about the help windows? Z. Nope, it's undefined. All right, so that doesn't work anywhere except for in the completion window, it seems. Ashra says, Q does not kill the buffer, only buries it. Yeah. If the variable mini buffer visible completions is customized to a non-nil value, it changes the commands bound to the arrow keys. Instead of moving in the mini buffer, they move between completion candidates, like meta arrow keys do by default. Similarly, return selects the current candidate, like meta ret. Control G hides the completion window, but leaves the mini buffer active so you can continue typing at the prompt. All right, let's take a look at that. Meta X, FIN tab. I'll switch over to that window and I'll press Control G. Well, it still closes it. Let's try that though. Set Q. Mini buffer visible completions. Let's see what the help says for that first. Whether candidates shown in completions can be navigated from the mini buffer. Yeah, we definitely want that. When non-nil, if the completions mini buffer is displayed in a window, you can use the arrow keys in the mini buffer to move the cursor in the highlighted window highlighted using the completion mini buffer. Type in return selects the highlighted completion candidate. It's not displayed on the screen or this variable is nil. The arrow keys move point in the mini buffer as usual, and return accepts the input typed into the mini buffer. Okay, so MetaX FI tab, Control N and P does not go through the items in there. I'm killing Hey, PKL, nice to see you. I'm killing that. I'm gonna go in here and turn this to true. And then I will use meta X, again, Fi tab and control N and P. Isn't doing anything. Why is it not doing anything the way that it says it will? It's true. When non-nil, if the completions buffer is displayed in a window, you can use the arrow keys. I don't want the arrow keys. Fab, I already use Fido vertical mode. I don't need iComplete. I'm trying to get away from that. Yeah, okay, yes, Ashraz, it said arrow keys. I don't want arrow keys. I want control N and P. I thought the info page said that. Maybe I was wrong. Zork says set completion auto select second tab. Let's see. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so that doesn't do what I expected. That's okay though. I don't want to use arrow keys. I want to use control N and P because that's what I'm used to. That's Emacs keys, right? But I also know that the idea is to try to use the default experience and see how well that works. So let's think about this for a second. Is this good? Let's see. I should also do files too. So proj tab, code tab. Okay, code, sure, cool. What else do I have? RAT tab, geeks tab. Cool, cool, cool. So that's not so bad. But I can't get to the candidates using control and control P. I have to go into the buffer to do that. And then I can do it using N and P, but PKL says, I second the completion auto select recommendation. We're gonna get there for sure. And completion format vertical, I will also look at that. Look, let me write them down, okay? Because I know we're getting a few here. Completion format vertical, also completion auto select second. I think I have these in my own configuration already, but I haven't been using them. So the question was, is this acceptable? It kind of is. Oh, there's another thing I want to change too, which is make completions not case sensitive. That's one thing that bites me sometimes, is that I'm looking for a particular file or folder name and I want it to complete regardless of space or casing. So I need to change that too. I know there's a way to do it. So yeah, projects. Thank you, Ashraz. Code, mesh. I mean, it's fine. Having a little pop-up is good enough just to sort of see what the possible options are. You can kind of type the letters that are necessary. Thank you, PCal. So setopt. I'm going to use setopt for that. Read buffer. I should probably just be like writing out expressions for this and comment them out. All right, so let's just comment that out temporarily. All right. Okay. Buffer file, did I say something wrong? Nope. So, anyway, the point I was trying to make is that it's okay. Like, if you just want to use the normal default completions window, it's fine. It's not so okay if you're used to things like Vertigo. But the question is, do you really need things like Vertigo or even iComplete vertical mode? It looks cool, looks nicer. It's not really necessary. I mean, you still get a lot of information from the normal completion view because you get the sort of the aliases commands, or you get their key bindings listed here. This is completely vanilla Emacs configuration. We're not getting anything extra in here except for just what you saw in the buffer above. So, I mean, you get information. It just kind of sucks a little bit, the fact that it takes over the whole screen sometimes. We can fix that though. Big Edie says, honestly, the thing I miss most from my old non-vanilla config is orderless. I've gotten pretty used to not having orderless by this point. Faith says, objectively speaking, needs and likes are pretty far apart. All we need is bin ed. Well, I don't want to go that far. I think that there's a lot of value in what Emacs does, but there's a lot of things that you can put on top of Emacs that you don't really need. But if they make it a more enjoyable experience, there's no problem to do that. I kind of feel like I'm trying to go back to nature in a way. To a reasonable degree. Okay, I'm not trying to be completely ascetic or anything, because it's pointless to do that. All right, so let's go on then to not completion exit, because we just looked at that. And maybe we'll look at completion styles again in a second, but we don't need to look at that again. So completion options. Case is significant when completing case-sensitive arguments. Okay, when completing file names, case differences are ignored if the variable read file name completion ignore case is non-nil. So I do want to change that, and I'll show you why. I'll take this out at first though. Control X to eval that. Control X, Control F. Sometimes I can't read the keys here. PROJ, press tab again. Sometimes I want it to show me the capitalized projects folder and the lowercase projects, whatever that's in there, because I don't really know like how I named a folder, if it has capitalization in it or whatever. I just kind of want it to show up. So proj tab, I want it to show projects. So in that case, I do want projects to be given to me, okay? So I will leave that on. I do want that. Same thing for buffer name completion. Do we have any buffers that are, capitalized? So like COM, if you tab that, the completions buffer doesn't show up unless you do capitalized COM. So I kind of do want that to where I can say, switch the buffer, COM, tab, completions. So that kind of gets you closer to what you get with something like order lists or anything that does fuzzy matching, where you kind of just type in whatever letters you can think of and hit tab, and it will give you, what is close to that. So I think those are kind of necessary. BKL says, have you taken a look at completion cycle threshold? Not yet. Let's add that to the list. I think this page does go through all of those. All right. So let's go back here. When completing buffer names, case differences are ignored if the variable read buffer completion ignore case is non-nil. Okay. When completing file names, Emacs usually omits certain alternatives that are considered unlikely to be chosen as determined by the list variable completion ignored extensions. I don't really have a reason to set that. Any file name ending in such a string is ignored as a completion alternative. Any element ending in a slash represents a subdirectory name. The standard value of completion ignored extensions has several elements, including, let's just look at what the actual variable has. Completion ignored elements. Extensions. What am I saying? Here it is. Value is shown below. So it's a bunch of like binary output files plus the .git folder, which is kind of interesting. So if I go to dot files, it doesn't give me .git as an option, which is kind of interesting. I don't know that I like that very much. But it's like object files and things, but maybe you don't want those to be completed in many cases. Mikal says, I also think that adding initials to completion styles is something that is nice with the default completion interface. It probably is good for doing things like MetaX, FFAP, tab. Oh, I guess they already have aliases for those, but actually, is it FFAP tab? Okay. Anyway. To quickly get to command names, I think, with MetaX. Even file names, I guess. Okay. Shell completion is an extended version of file name completion. See shell options. So we might take a look at that too, because that does affect MetaX shell. If completion help is set to nil, the completion commands never display the completion list buffer. You must type question mark to display that list. If the value is lazy, Emacs only shows a completion list buffer on the second attempt to complete. In other words, if there is nothing to complete, the first tab echoes next care not unique. I don't like that. Second tab shows the completion list buffer. If the value is always, completion list buffer is always shown when completion is attempted. So we can set that to always. So right now, MetaX, fin tab, well, that works. Let's see. Is it set to always by default? Let's see. What was it called? Completion auto help. This value is true. The value is always, the completions buffer is always shown after a completion attempt, and the list of completions is updated if already visible. FIN tab, FI tab, well, I'm trying to think of a scenario where that would make a difference. Do I need to use setup for all these probably? So, completion, what was it called? Auto help, always. Meta X, FI, tab, ND. Tab, okay. So I think tab would have completed it all the way to find file at point without bringing up the completions again. So let's try that. I'm going to go back to true on this. Find FI-A tab. Okay, so it just gives me the completion all the way in. It doesn't show the completion window again for that completion. See you, Jerry. PKL says using setup is good because you'll get a warning if you set a user option to an invalid value. That's cool. That's actually a really good point because that is all too common. So do I like that? Is that useful? Because you press it again, then you get what you're looking for. So find file, so find-fi-a, you hit tab, it gives you find file at point, you hit tab again, then it gives you the remaining completions. Personally, I like that better because I don't necessarily want it to show me the other possibilities if it already gave me the first one. But there is another option here. There's find file literally at point. So I don't know if that is the best option. It's questionable. Maybe I should add a note here. This may need to be set to always, just so that you don't miss other possible good options or completions that match the input string. I don't know. Ashra says also setup calls customization functions. Yeah. And what was that one for? Visible completions. Be navigated from mini buffer. Thank you, Summer. Enjoy. See you later. All right, so next. I think I would leave it that way. Display of the completion list buffer after it is shown for the first time is controlled by completion auto help. The value is T or lazy. Didn't we just see that? The window showing the completion pops down when Emacs is able to complete. It may pop up again if Emacs is again unable to complete after you type some more text. If it's always, if the window pops down, only when you exit the completion. If the value visible is a hybrid, it behaves like T when it decides whether to pop up the window showing the completion list buffer, and always when it decides to pop down. Okay, so it leaves it open, I guess. Emacs can optionally select the window showing the completions when it shows that window. I think I prefer that. To enable this behavior, customize the user's option completion auto select to true, which changes the behavior of tab. That's also a little bit, yeah, okay. That's why second tab is needed. So if you set it to true, it automatically jumps to the window. So right now, find FI tab, the focus is still in the mini buffer, so you can continue to type things and press tab. So it's almost like this pop-up window is mainly just to show you what the options are, and then you go type the rest of the stuff to narrow it down the rest of the way. And you can keep hitting tab all day and it won't do anything else. So find FU, and then it tabs over to that. Find FI tab, it just gives you the completions. Let me unlock my screen again on the other machine. So, the thing that we're looking at setting now is, what was it called? Completion auto select. Completion auto select. We're gonna make that be second tab. And the reason why we wanna do that is because we want the completion. We hit tab again. Actually, we have to hit tab a third time in this case, but then it moves the focus into the completion window so you can scroll through them yourself. So it has to kind of be deliberate. In this case, Fi tab, it brings up the window, then tab puts you into the window. So I do like that behavior because then it gives you the ability to decide whether you want to go into the window and select something that you see on the screen yourself rather than try to type it out. Otherwise, you might just hit tab and see, oh, okay, I need to type NDL and then hit tab again and then narrow it down. Then maybe you hit tab that time and navigate the way that you want to. So Fade says it's a lot more interaction, but the question is, what do you often do? Like, what is the actual process of picking one of the completions that shows up? Or what are you used to, I guess? Maybe if you type in meta X and you've got like FFAP with a fuzzy matcher and you already got the completion showing up and you know that it's selected the right one, you press enter and it's done. That's fine. Hitting tab twice is not that bad to me, or 3 times, I guess, in this case. So I don't know, like, it is more part of what I want to do in trying to use this on a day-to-day basis is to figure out how annoying it is or if there's actually value. I can't tell you that right now because I haven't been doing it on a daily basis, but I'm going to figure it out and I'll let you know. So, move focus to the completions window after hitting tab twice. Okay. When the window showing the completion is selected, either because you've customized auto select or because you switched to it by using Control XO, move by lines. Up and down arrow keys move by lines. If completion auto wrap is non-nil, these commands will wrap at the bottom and top of the candidate list. So I think I kind of do want that. So let's see. We go into the list. If I press in, it must be on already because it is wrapping. What is the thing called? Completion auto wrap? It's true. It must be true by default. Okay, good. Peter says, I wonder if hand-eye coordination keeps being needed with this. Meaning you have to move your eyes to the window and kind of look at what the completions are. If completion cycle threshold is non-nil, completion commands can cycle through completion alternatives. Normally, if there is more than one completion alternative for the text in a mini buffer, a completion command completes up to the longest common substring. If you change it to true, the completion command instead completes to the first of those completion alternatives. Each subsequent invocation replaces that with the next completion alternative in a cyclic manner. Okay. If you give a numeric value, the completion commands switch to the cycling behavior only when there are n or fewer alternatives. So maybe I'm not sure which of those I would want. So completion, what was it called? Cycle threshold. Completion cycle threshold. Right there. Let's put it to true. What is it currently? It's nil. All right, so we haven't turned it on yet. So completion C. All right, complete. So in this case, it does. Oh, it's the second tab jumps into the window, and I keep pressing tab, and it goes through them. So that makes sense. But completion cycle threshold. I wonder if this is compatible with completion auto select. I'm going to run this now. I'm going to go back to complete T tab, 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 tab. Okay, so it does defeat the tab, the second tab auto select thing, because what it does is when you start hitting tab, it will cycle through the completions. So it does make sense to potentially only have a low threshold value here, like let's say somewhere between 3 and 5. PCal says it's also a lot more quiet than narrowing selection. You might be right. What do you set yours to, PCal? Because it's, I can see how this would be useful. If there's only a couple options, then cycling makes more sense than popping up a whole window. So if I put it to 3, and then I do Control X, Control F, and type proj and hit tab, it goes to projects and it goes to project.org. So I guess the problem here, though, is that you don't know there's another completion. You just see that it completes to the first thing. So I guess if it's, I don't know, like doc. Okay, so I don't know. I'm not sure which I prefer, but I do like the fact that it just automatically inserts it. And then it will keep going. What about, let's see, find FI. Yeah, if it has more, it obviously does that. So find, whoops. Find FIA tab. Okay, so it just goes through those. There could be some value to this. So if there are 3 or less completion candidates, don't pop up a window. Just cycle through them. I wish it would give you an indicator, though. Let's see what the docs say. Okay, it doesn't say anything else. Maybe there's not a variable for that. When displaying completions, Emacs would normally pop up a new buffer to display the completions. The completions will by default be sorted horizontally using as many columns as will fit in the window width, but this can be changed by customizing the completions format user option. If its value is vertical, Emacs will sort the completions vertically instead. And if it's one column, Emacs will use just one column. So instead of doing what we've seen before, which is going through them horizontally, it would go through them vertically. So if we change completions format, then that will be different. Completions format vertical. So if we were to run this and then meta x fi dash, if I go in there the second time and use N and P, well, it's still going horizontally. Is that right? Control N and P go the way that I expect them to. Huh. I mean, they do seem sorted vertically and not horizontally. Let's go back to the original. I'm curious about how that looks. Original value was horizontal. Okay. Yeah, so the sorting is horizontal. I don't know which one makes more sense, but having to zigzag your eyes back and forth to find the ones that are kind of like each other seems weird to me. So I think vertical might be better just from an understandability standpoint. Do you agree? Like seeing them go down in terms of the letters that are most similar to the others kind of makes more sense to me. Yeah. There's also one column if we want to take a look at that. Zorg says it depends on window height. Maybe. Astra says the spacing between them is more appropriate. Maybe just because of the text that's visible there. One column. This would require a lot more scrolling, I think, and I don't know if that's better. So meta x fi dash, you got one column. You have to use meta v, I think. Is that right? Or control V? Yeah, you have to use control and meta V to scroll in that window. I had to hit tab again to get the cursor in there, then use control and V. I don't know if I like that either. I think I might like it better if you see everything. So I would just set that to vertical. Just so you have more stuff on the screen at the same time. Because that is one problem sort of with vertical completion lists, is that you don't see so many candidates at the same time, so you don't get quite as much information. The completion sort user option controls the order in which the completions are sorted in the completions buffer. The default is alphabetical. The value historical sorts alphabetically first and then rearranges according to the order of the candidates in the mini buffer history. That sounds backwards. The value historical sorts alphabetically first and then rearranges according to the order of the candidates. Okay, so maybe it has the buffer, it has everything sorted first, and then rearranges the first ones based on usage. So let's try that. Or make completion sort historical. Jeff says, I think the answer to the question is yes. To which Zorik says, Vertigo provides multi-form, actually can be grid, unobtrusive, reverse, vertical, or even like a buffer. Yeah, it does. I don't really know that you need all that though. What is it called? Completions sort. And in this one, if I look at the, thank you, Jeff. Yes. And thank you, Ashras, for pointing out the obvious. All right, by default is alphabetical. Historical. So if I were to use MetaX FI tab, it seems find file at point is historically more used in this session because I have picked that one a couple times. So it's cool that that one comes first. What else have I used? Nothing really in the session, but we do see that find file at point shows up first. If I put that back to alphabetical, and FI dash, then FIDO mode shows up first. Then we go back to historical, FI tab, then find file at point comes up first. I kind of like that better, because the most recent thing that you used would show up first. Gun says, I remember some threshold setting where you could define how windows open, probably with display buffer A list. Okay, the next thing is completion's max height. If it's set to non-nil, it limits the size of the completion's window. If it's specified in lines and include mode, header, line, and bottom divider, if any. Okay. I think that should be includes. It is specified in lines and includes mode, header, line, and bottom divider, if any. For more complex control of the completion window display properties, you can use the display buffer A list. Now that's kind of interesting. Since the completions pop-up is a buffer called completions, you can have display buffer A list control this in a more granular way. You can make it be a side window. You can constrain the height. You can do all sorts of cool stuff. So that is an option, but by default, there is a completions max height setting, completions max height. And you can set that to something like, let's say 13. That's a lucky number, right? FI tab. And then it will make sure that the completion list never gets taller than that amount. Now, obviously, you will have to scroll. And does it give us any indication that we need to scroll? It says top. Hey, Case. What's up, nerds, says Case. Yes, I figured this would be the type of stream that would bring you here. Because you're also a nerd, buddy. And where's Trev? Where is Trev? Case says, I saw you were doing completions. I main that ish every day. Ask me anything. Well, you should just give us your ideal settings. I think you probably have done that before. All right. Yes, Trev, you're getting called out wherever you are. Treve, that's right, Treve. So I do like having a more constrained height. Can you scroll horizontally? No, I don't think that buffer allows you to scroll horizontally. So I think this height is not very good, but that's only if the text up here is still here. So I think that we need to look at the next setting, which is completion's header format. Is a format string spec string to control the informative line shown before the completions list of the candidates. If it contains a percent space construct, that gets replaced by the number of completions shown in the completion list buffer, which we kind of do want. To suppress the display of the heading line, customize this variable to nil. The string that is the value of this variable can have text properties. Okay, so we're going to change completion's header format to get rid of that helpful text at the top because I don't really want it. So completion's header format. Let's see what the default value is. Oh, possible completions. Well, I want that. What about the help string? Get that out of there. So yeah, that part, like, we want to see how many completions there are. For sure. Like, I want to know that there's 3,093 possible completions, but I don't want this stuff up here. Zorg, where did Zorg mention that? It's gone now. Case says, honestly, if I could do iComplete or Vertigo and have it almost always not expand automatically, but then do expand on MetaX and find file, that would be bae. Isn't there a, thanks Zorg, isn't there a setting for that for completions where you can change the completion variables per command? I'm pretty sure there is a completion. What's it called? Somebody out there knows what it is. Completion show. Whoa. Non-nil means to show the help message in the completions buffer. So, show help nil. Get rid of that. Meta X, FI tab. Look at that. That's much, much better. Okay. I don't want the help. I don't care. Like, I know how to use Emacs. All right. Good. Let's just use Alt-Q to word wrap these more appropriately, right? Pcal says, have you tried using apropos user option? No, I haven't. Search for user option completion star dot star. That's pretty nice. That's for sure. Auto help, auto select, auto wrap, auto deselect. If non-nil, deselect current completion candidate when you type in the mini buffer. That could be useful in some cases, but I don't know if it's useful in the way that we've set things up so far. Completion category overrides. A list of category-specific user overrides for completion metadata. Is that right? Uh-huh. So, Kay says, I used to use Vertigo, but honestly, completions is good enough. I think it is too. So this is what you're looking for, Case, I think. Completion category overrides. You can set the styles, the cycle, sorting, grouping, annotation function. There's buffer and file, which are the categories. What about MetaX? Category defaults. Info menu. Those are the completion styles. Okay. Anywho, maybe that doesn't do enough. That might. Yeah, okay. Ashra says a Case has used it. Okay. Probably it's not enough. Pcal says it searches the doc strings as well. Oh, that's kind of nice, actually. Let's just put that in the show notes because other people might be interested to take a look. Suggestion from Pcal. Use MetaX apropos user option to search for customization variables containing particular text like completion, even in doc strings. Cool. Okay, so next. What time is it? Okay, we're good. So let's see, completions header format. Yeah, I don't want to change that. Completions highlight face. I don't care too much about that either. Value of this variable is completions highlight. I mean, I guess you could just customize the face if you wanted to. You don't have to customize. You don't have to change the face. That's it, right? Like, I think we're done with this whole completion section. Let's go back up to mini buffer. Mini buffer history. Yeah, we're not going to go into that stuff. We've seen some of that before. The other thing is just completion styles in general. And changing those. I believe that Pcal suggested to, he says, bind it to control HU. That's actually pretty useful. All right. So, where are we? Completion styles. I think PCal has suggested using initials as one of the completion styles. Now, the thing about completion styles is that it is the set of search methods, I guess you could call them, that are used for coming up with a list of completions, and they're tried in order. So whatever you put in that list of completion options, so completion styles, by default, it's basic, partial completion, and Emacs 22. So it first tries the basic completion style, and if it gets any completions based on what you've typed in the mini buffer so far, it will show a list of only the basic completions. If it doesn't find any using basic, then it moves to the next one on the list, which is partial completion. And if it doesn't find any in that one, then it will show what comes out of Emacs 22. So it does not aggregate these completions into one list. It tries them in order, and it narrows down one by one. So the benefit of that is that the first one in the list should be the one that you want to try to use as the strategy for completing what you're typing in first. And then if that fails, you want to have another one that might have another strategy that could work. So coming up with the right list of those for your purposes is kind of like a matter of taste, but you kind of need to try them to see how it works. So here it says that basic is a matching completion alternative must have the same beginning as the text in the mini buffer before point. So as you saw before, oops, not this one, MetaX FI hyphen tab will give you all things starting with FI dash, okay? That is pretty good for MetaX. Now, that whole completion categories thing is what you might want to customize if you want to change that. So we saw that before, completion categories, category overrides. That's an A list that you can set so that for buffer, it might have a different set of completion styles than files. I don't think they're customizing files in this one, are they? Where's the category list? Category A list, where A list is an association list that can specify properties such as styles, list of completion styles. No. Help. There we go. And what is the back key for this? Control H, M, L. L, L, L. Where are we? Categories such as buffer and file. Okay, so it must be that file uses the default completion styles, but then in the completion category default, we see that for buffer, it actually uses basic and substring, so it customizes that further. Gun says, no time until the completion stream completes. Cheers, David. Well, see you, man. So commands and files will be using the same completion styles that you have set in the completion styles variable. And it seems that based on completion category defaults, buffer will be different. Project file will be different with substring only, which is kind of interesting actually, because I think that at Control XPF, yes, dot files. There we go. Let's see. Desktop. Yes, it's substring. It basically expects to find the substring somewhere in the completion item. And that does make a lot more sense for finding a file in the project, because the way that the project find file works in project.el is that it gives you a list of all the files that are under the project path. So substring does make more sense for that one as a completion style. Anyway, let's go back to this list. So basic, matching completion alternative must have the same beginning as the text. You don't want that for file path, but you do want that for MetaX for sure. Partial completion, this aggressive completion style divides the mini buffer text into words separated by hyphens or spaces and completes each word separately. So it will match L-M-M to complete that to Emacs Lisp mode, which obviously makes sense in the case of Meta X, and also Control HV, like com-s tab. Well, that didn't actually get me to what I expected it to. Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong place. Com-s complete symbol. Wait. Yeah, completion styles. Okay, so there we go. And then Emacs 22 is similar to basic, except that it ignores the text in the mini buffer after point. So if there's any text in the mini buffer after the point, the rest of the completion alternative must contain that text as a substring. That's kind of interesting. I don't know how these two relate. But let's take a look at this real quick because it's kind of interesting how that works. So meta x fin at, but if I move the cursor back to and press tab, if it says find at, so it's able to complete part of it. Anyway. Wait, so case says completion category overrides file ear display T. What does that do? Completion category overrides. Is that documented? Is that new? I don't see that anywhere. So that must be new because it's not in here. It is not documented. That sucks. So the idea is that whenever you start typing for a file, it automatically shows up the completions. Introduced in 31.1 according to my Emacs says CMAC. Okay. Okay. Anyway, Case says, I'm bleeding edge, baby. Well, I'm using Emacs 30 on this machine that you're looking at right now. Sort recently used completions first. Only show up to 10 lines in the completions window. Okay. All right. We got about 5 minutes left. Substring, a matching completion alternative must contain the text in the mini buffer before point and the text in the mini buffer after point as substrings in that same order. Okay. Flex is fuzzy matching, where it basically makes everything like a star between all letters, which is insane and slow. Completion variables. Oh, it's in eLisp, the eLisp manual, not in the Emacs manual. Let's see. Let's go to the other one, that info. Completion variables, completion styles, a list, eager. Yeah. Oh, whoa. What? No. Nope. Programmed completion. We are excuse me, Ashraz. We just I'm using an older version of Emacs and it's not documented apparently. Okay, anyway, initials. Very aggressive completion style attempts to complete acronyms and initialisms. You can use LCH for list command history. Yeah. I guess that's okay. You can add that. Let's look at an example. So let me go over to the config. And what was it that I was going to do? Completion styles. We're going to change this to basic. I like basic. I like partial completion. And the next one is initials. So in meta X, I could say FFO tab. Gives me some other options, which is cool. What about SB tab? Okay, so it does kind of get me there. What about if I take that out? If I take that out and do the same thing with SB, it doesn't do anything. It's kind of interesting in a way, because it can get you into a completion list that does use initials. What would be another one? Control HV, completion category overrides. Oh, because it found things starting with CCO, and it didn't get the other ones. All right, so that kind of gives you a little bit of a taste of that. C-C-O tab, completion category override. So if you type it yourself, C-C-O tab. Oh, really? C-C-O tab. No! Wrong. Describe variable C-C-O for completion category overrides. If you know that it might have that name and you want to get there faster, you could probably do that. But is it faster? Yeah, I mean, completion category overrides is already there because I have looked at that variable recently because we're sorting by history. So I don't know if it's faster either way, but maybe having initials there is a good option because it only gets triggered if the other ones don't get triggered first. So it's not like it's going to cost you anything performance-wise, I think. All right. So I think that's actually kind of pretty good. Add the initials completion style to the default list. Kind of curious what this eager thing does. Can I do like a push on that? Oh, what was the other thing? We got that one. We got that one. Auto choose. Automatically insert completions in the menu buffer. I don't know if I want that one. Completion auto select. I don't know how to set up permissive completion. I'll put that in here. And what was that for? I don't even know if that's needed. I don't think it's needed at all. Yeah, I don't think it's needed. Let's do this. I don't like that. See you, PCal. Thanks for the help, man. Okay. All right, so I think that's it, right? That's pretty good. I think that the rest of it is up to you if you want to try to figure out how to set the completion category overrides for what you need. So like consider category defaults. No, it's overrides, right? Oh, that was the other thing. Preview. Now, Is that? Oh, that's only in the current buffer. All right, got it. So completions, yeah, so that's kind of nice. You actually get completions in the buffer and you hit tab to go through it. Yeah, in buffer preview, I kind of like that though. Does it actually? All right, it doesn't actually follow the same logic. Case says a preview I don't get. I didn't type that. It doesn't seem to follow the same stuff. Never mind. Let's leave that out for now because I think that doesn't work the way that we want to see it to work. Consider setting completion category overrides to customize individual mini buffer prompts with different completion styles, etc. All right. So that's it. I'm going to save this configuration. If I can read my keys. Yeah, there we go. And put it into the show notes for today. And you can go check that out if you want to. The final configuration. And also, you know, give me your thoughts. Like what stuff belongs in here? Like what works well? What do we miss? Oslo says Emacs is up to 31. I should update. Yes, I should update too on this machine, but I have it on my other machine as up to date. So anyway, I think that was pretty interesting. I'm going to stick with this for a while and put this in my main configuration and try to use it for a bit and see how it goes. And I'll let you know. Peter says another rabbit hole opened up. Well, thank you all for being here today. Really appreciate your time and attention. I hope this was fun and interesting to you. Leave a comment, leave a like, all that good stuff. And have a great weekend. Until next time, happy hacking. See ya.